Hey everyone, welcome to Average Joe Preparedness. My name's Rick, and I'm an Average Joe. As usual, we're going to start with some basic preparedness and kind of talk about up to worst case scenarios, or used to call it zombie apocalypse. I thought that was funny, but now we call it worst case scenarios here. So, if you are new here, if you've stumbled on this channel, if what's going on in the world has made you decide that preparedness, not like but preparedness is something you need to look at, then welcome. And the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this and tell you where to get it. This is an emergency checklist, ready.gov. It's a FEMA. And take it down about, the government and all that stuff. This is for average people, just regular people. Okay, if you want to start with emergency preparedness, my recommendation, don't tell you what to do, is go download that checklist so you have a starting point. So you're like, okay, this is a good place for me to start. Yes, yes. Now with that, for average people, finances. I try to always touch base on finances. And there's things here you're going to probably have to purchase or get a hold of. Usually it's through purchasing. You're like, well, man, things are tight because we got inflation and we got the price of everything's going up and interest rates. And I get it. So one of the next things you need to do is get your finances in order. And my recommendation is always the same. And that is living below your means. Please. It's like 75, 80%. I lost track of the numbers because it changes, but it's always up there. People in the United States live paycheck to paycheck because they live at their means. Right there. When the next paycheck comes, they're broke and they got to start all over again. Please don't be one of those individuals. Being preparedness, even starting here and working your way up, takes time, it takes energy, it takes sacrifice, and it takes money. Yes, yes. Now, most people go out to eat a lot, and I don't know if you noticed, that stuff's getting more expensive. Yes, but just take a little time and eat out less. Start making your food at home. And you can start with buying stuff, I guess, that you just reheat. But then eventually you might want to work towards learning how to cook and learning how to bake. I'll give you a case in point. Just the other day, we had a dinner. And I know this is going to sound, oh, no, big deal. But we had a dinner and I made everything from scratch, completely. I do it more often and more often and more often. I made stew, I slow cooked it all day and it was really good. And I take the scraps of stuff that's in the fridge and I throw it in there. Stew, you can throw almost anything in a stew. You know what I'm saying? Leftover meats and the veggies. Even if the veggies look like, oh man, I don't know how much longer this cut that thing up and throw it in there and slow cooked it. And then I made a flatbread from scratch, with the flour and the water and you mix it up. Yeah, I did that. Now, for those of you who don't know the story, I went and tried to make pita bread, but I was using bad old, I'll think of the thing here in a second. Yeast, that's it. I was using old yeast. It didn't rise up, so I didn't get that pocket on the inside. I kind of did, but didn't. And it was kind of like pita bread, kind of like flatbread. And I'm like, well, hell, I'll just figure out how to make flatbread. Flatbread, guys, is easy to make. It is quick. It is simple. You don't have to wait for it to rise up. It's got to rust a little bit, but it's no big deal. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you should. Baking bread or types of bread is a basic thing. Soups, breads, we've talked about it before. Get into them. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might want to look into it because everyone should know, in my opinion, how to make bread products and soups and or stews or broths. It's just my opinion, guys. So anyways, I made the entire meal from scratch and it was really good and it didn't cost hardly anything. Okay, another thing to do to start saving money, and again, it takes work, is start doing things around your house. And if you watch back a couple of videos, those of you guys who come back, I told you about the water heater, what I was going to do to it. Well, I did. So a simple enough thing is I wrapped my water heater in an insulation blanket, and then they recommend like the first 4 feet, but I can only get to 3 feet because then it gets to where I couldn't get it. The first 3, in my case, feet of pipe that come out of the top, I put insulation. It's like a pool noodle, but smaller, and that's what it's made for. The little things you peel off and you put it on. And yeah, so I'm hoping long term that'll save me a little extra money. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. Also, I turn down, there's a temperature that your water heater maintains, and I turn it down. And what I do is I turn it down and basically see if anybody notices and see if it's a big deal, see if it makes a difference. Not turn it down a little bit more. Okay, you don't need water that's scalding your hand. There's no reason for that. Again, everyone, everything I say here is my opinion. I'm just an average Joe. I'm just a normal guy. What I say before, I'm a guy in a garage filming this stuff. You with me? So yeah. So anyways, I got that done. Make sure you wear the right safety equipment if you try to do it, because I was dealing with insulation. You're dealing with fiberglass, so it's itchy and you don't breathe it. Had a mask on, cleaned it all up, vacuumed it up. Oh, and when I vacuumed it all up, for those long-term people who have been here, guess what I did in my vacuum when I was done? That's right. I'd already had it scheduled for me to clean it, and change out the filters and stuff because it had fiberglass in it. So it was a good excuse for me to maintain, for you new people here, my vacuums. I have, well, the one big working vacuum is I have the filters and the such, and I break it all down and I clean it up and I maintain it so I don't have to buy another one. Yes, yes, saving money. That's what I do. Yes, yay. By the way, these are just ideas. Okay, you could be sitting there saying, that's not what I'm going to do, Rick. Well, you figure out what you're going to do. Yes? Yes. And when the weather gets better, because it's still friggin' freezing here, look what I got. You guys see that? It's one of those little dryer vent things. You stick it up in the dryer vent and you run it all the way through, because we have one that's got a long run on it. And you make sure it's clean, and that way your dryer is more efficient, and that way your house doesn't catch on fire. But the main part is doing things yourself. You can hire people. They'll come out and do it for you if you want to spend the money. The point is, don't spend the money. Again, down here, working your way up for finances. If you're going to be in preparedness, you need to take care of your money. Yes, yes. Let's see what else my notes say. Slow cooking, baking bread. Oh, and baking bread, when it comes to that, the point, a real world point, is at Walmart. The one near me, a regular old loaf of bread, the cheapest one that you could get. Just like a couple years ago, I wrote it down. Because I watch prices. It's what I do. They used to be 82 cents. They are now $1.27. Do you see how much it's gone up? That's just bread, not counting everything else. Well, now I make my own. And one more thing before we move on to something else, the little scale here, is entertainment. We actually have, me and lovely Lita, my laugh, we actually have board games. Yes? And we'll just sit down and not necessarily watch TV, but we'll just sit down and play a board game. I think, well, I don't think it counts. Yahtzee technically is not a board game. I think just the other night we sat down and we just looked at each other's eyes and played a game of Yahtzee. It doesn't really matter what you're playing. The point is spending time together and the such. But we didn't have to go out to a movie. You know how much it costs to go out to a movie? You with me? Don't get me wrong. I'll do it if it's a really good movie, but there aren't many of those out anymore. But again, live below your means. Find ways to entertain yourself. Find ways to feed yourself. Find ways to maintain your things that cost less. All right? All right. I always kick this dead horse about finances, and we'll call it the end of that until we move up. Okay? Yay. Now, transitioning off of that, there was a content creator. I'm not going to mention their name because somebody might perceive what I'm about to say as negative, and so I don't do negatives. Positives, yes. But they were critiquing themselves. You with me? And again, we're transitioning because it has to do with finance. So what happened to them was during warmer weather, they had an issue with their HVAC. And admittedly, he said he didn't get it fixed because it was going to cost $1,000. Okay, basic finances. Basic finances. One of the steps is the very first thing you do. I think it's Ramsey or whatever his name is. One of the basic first things you do is get $1,000 cash and keep it on hand. You with me? Not in a cookie jar where you grab it when the pizza person comes, but kind of off, but you have $1,000. It's like the first step. It's a mental barrier to break through about saving money. If he'd have had that $1,000, what comes next wouldn't have happened. Yes? Yes. So now there's a video. I don't think I'm going to do it. Maybe I will put one up here. I haven't done that for a while. About when my HVAC went out, my air conditioning during the summer months. And I fixed it myself. But I had the money to do it because I have that $1,000, which is a good place to start when it comes to fixing a major appliance or going and buying one or whatever. So anyways, so an example, you should do it. So what happened was he kept kicking the can down the road. Then winter time came, and HVACs, you guys know, work off the same system. And so it's freezing and it broke down. And then something broke down behind that, and then this didn't work, and things just didn't go well for him. But it could have originally been prevented if, one, when something breaks, get it fixed. But two, if he would have had the money, because if I'm not mistaken, he said it was right at $1,000. And that right there is one of things I recommend is getting $1,000 on hand to get through that mental barrier about saving money. Yes? Yes. And then this is where it turns a little bit where you might think that this is a little negative. This is not why I'm bringing up the name. Is because this content creator, I don't know if you've seen those content creators where they sit and it looks like a mini studio, and behind them they have like dry goods and survival stuff, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Where they have it like positioned where you can see it. And so he had all that stuff in his little studio, what the hell, where he does videos, and he didn't have the $1,000 first so that he could have avoided this thing. You guys with me on that one? You got to have priorities. Your priorities should be finances. Before you put stuff up behind, before you see me putting stuff up here, you know, like maybe sponsored stuff or just so it looks really cool in my garage. You know what I'm talking about? You guys don't see anything. I don't think you guys see anything up there that looks really cool. It's just my stuff. You with me? But let me tell you what, I might not have the studio and the stuff, but I have that $1,000 and I fixed my air conditioning. Yes? Yes. Okay, one more thing before we move on. So we got a lot of snow here and I am out there shoveling, which means, like I've been telling you with the freezing, is I can't do anything in my yard. I can't work my garden beds. I can't do anything like that. But I'm out there shoveling snow, a lot of it. Well, Rick, why don't you have yourself a snowblower? That is a good thing that you asked that. I appreciate that. I don't have a snowblower. Lovely lady in my life. She's like, you know, I'm going to get you a snowblower. I'm like, don't give me a snowblower. One day eventually, you see these gray hairs? One day eventually I'm getting a snowblower. And I don't just do mine. I shovel the snow in front of my neighbors and over here, and I shovel it. Do you know why? Guys, check this out and see if you can see secondary tertiary examples here. I got online, I saw it in the news or something when they were like, when should you stop shoveling snow? Because people die doing it. They have like strokes and coronaries, heart attacks, all this good kind of stuff. And I think it said 37. At 37 years old, you should stop. The people in the United States, Americans, should stop shoveling snow. What the holy heck? Are you kidding me? That the people in the United States are so out of shape, I'm guessing, you see what I'm saying, that have so many problems that they're not supposed to shovel snow after 37. I believe it was 37. I'm 50 something and I'm out there shoveling snow. Do you know why? One, I don't need to maintain the snowblower. I don't have gas and oil. I don't need to find a place to store it. My shovel sits right there. It's really easy. It's good exercise. And for goodness sake, I am not going to be 50 something year. 37, you're not supposed to shovel snow in the United States because you might die. What kind of shape are you in? What does that say? I mean, I'm just asking, guys. I'm just asking. But anyway, so I don't have a snowblower because, yeah, the cost and the maintenance. And eventually I will, but not now. And the longer and longer I put it off, the more money I'm saving. Yes? Yeah, and I'm getting exercise. And I'm a nice guy to my neighbors. Yay. Okay, now we're going to move up in this area somewhere. Not quite there yet. And that is, I mentioned in my last video, I think it was in the title where it said, be careful where you get your information. And I still say that. I still say you need to be careful what you get your information from, because there is a lot of fear out there. If you guys are like in the YouTube and you're looking for like preparedness, and if you click on some of the other videos, guys, you're going to see it. You're going to see a lot of like, it's just crazy. And I'm like, holy Moses. Again, I mentioned it before. Being prepared is so that you are not afraid. You don't be afraid to do something. You can't use it as a motivator. Otherwise, you always have to be afraid to be motivated. Be motivated because it's logical. Then if you're logical, then you're motivated. Yes? Yes. So invasion, the United States being invaded by armies and, war. Yeah, war is going to happen, guys, because it always does. There's nothing that can be done about it. It's human nature. It's not a conspiracy theory. And we're going to transition. I don't know why everything that happens has to be a conspiracy theory. I think that lessens sometimes they're not valid anymore. Everything is not a conspiracy theory, okay? A lot of stuff is just human nature. And I don't know why people put conspiracy theory with human nature. It's human nature. You can tell what's going to happen. There's not necessarily, in my opinion only, guys, there's not necessarily this big cabal behind it. And I mean, you could say, well, these people are pushing it, and these people because they're going to get finances. And so, well, that's human nature, okay? People like power and money. Talked about it before. Power, money. It's what motivates a lot of people, most people. Yes, sad to say, but that's it. So is war going to happen? Eventually war is going to happen because that's human nature. Peace is the exception. War is our norm. Okay, two more things. So now we're getting up here. And I mentioned this individual before, and it is Southern Prepper 1, the number 1. And yeah, I still watch him. And he had an example where he realized communications went down, like the phone lines and stuff went down, and this thing happened. Or no, that didn't happen. What was it? He had a birth of a cow. And it's like the first one, if I'm not mistaken, that he's had. And he had to call neighbors and talk to them that they knew what they were doing. And he realized that if communications were down, if things were really bad, worst case scenario, that things wouldn't have gone potentially as well for him. And he realized where he was coming up short. Yes? And that's my recommendation to everyone, including the one I talked about where maybe it might have seemed negative, is when something happens, realize where you come up short. If the power goes out, make a list once it comes back on of all the things you wish you had, of all the things you forgot. You guys with me? When the prices go up, realize all the things you wish you had done and start doing them. Learn from your own lessons. Yes? Yes. All right, and the last thing, and luckily, good and bad news. The bad news is that maybe this is going to upset some people and I'm going to lose a subscriber or two. I have no idea. The good news is I don't have that many. I have less than 500. So, but I appreciate you guys, but I'm just saying. So let me give it to you. You ready? 15-minute cities are not the devil. 15-minute cities is not the devil. Oh my God, people. So the idea of 15-minute cities now is being turned into this huge thing of okay, listen to me very carefully. The concept of my opinion only, but I'll back it up. The concept of a 15-minute city is not evil. Okay? Let's talk about it. The basic concept of a 15-minute city is not that big of a deal. And that is that in this certain area, you have everything you need to survive. You have entertainment, you have a hospital or medical facilities like urgent care or something like that. We have an urgent care, and it's actually my primary care. So, and there's like a little x-ray place, and so everything, it's not one of those huge hospitals, and it's within 15 minutes. And you have entertainment, and you have restaurants, and you have grocery stores, and your work is there. And the idea is simple. I don't have to commute. I don't even have to, if the weather's nice, I don't have to jump in my car. I can walk over there or ride a bike, and they got bike paths and stuff. And a 15-minute city in and of itself is an awesome idea. So please get away from the concept that a 15-minute city is prison. Yes? But wait, let's flip that and look at the other side. I see a lot of liberal publications, and they're making fun of everyone who doesn't like a 15-minute city. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but I'm looking at reality. But what they forget is where it originally came from. Because I read originally, for me, where it came from was over in England. I think it starts with an O, like Oxford or something like that. The city council decided to, well, I went and read it. Now their 15-minute city had a problem. And what it was is they were fining you if you left these zones. You see what I'm saying? So a 15-minute city in and of itself is not that big of a deal. But if they start fining you when you leave, that you only get like 10 passes or 100 passes a year for you to leave your area, then you have to pay money or you get fined. Now that's a different story. So let's make sure we're clear, because they don't talk about, when they're making fun of everybody who's like 15-minute city conspiracy, they never bring that up. They don't bring that up. And the fact is there are places that are trying that they are limiting you and keeping you in that 15-minute city. There's a difference. I have no idea. I saw a little thing in my feed too, where someone said, there was a little comedy thing where it said, no one who has forced people to comply with something have ever in history been the good guys. Just something to think about. Okay, if I have a 15-minute city, that's wonderful, and I'll take advantage of it. I'll walk because it's good exercise, and it's nice outside, and I'll ride my bike because I like riding my bike, and I do it now where I ride my bike, I put a backpack on and go shopping, and I got one of those little kiddie things for the grandkids, Hell, I'll take that and put groceries in it and haul them off from the store. And I like getting outside and exercising and blah, 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 because I'm getting old and it's a good thing. But here's the difference. I won't have a problem with it until they start finding me, until they start trapping me. I don't know why people do that. The control, power and control. That is where a 15-minute city gets bad. Until then, it's a good idea. My opinion only, guys. The point I'm trying to make is whatever it is you want to prepare for, all the way up to 15-minute cities, whatever, is get the right information. You with me? You get it. Don't expect me. Don't expect the news. Don't expect mainstream media. Don't expect somewhere in your Twitter feed or blah, 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 you post Facebook or wherever. You're not getting the information there. You go get it. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, with the Oxford or wherever the hell it was, I went to the council, the charter that the council came up with, and where they were finding people, and they were using cameras, traffic cameras, and they were going to spy or whatever, and you were going to have to get a pass to leave. And then they changed that and said, well, it's only downtown because we want to control traffic, so we don't want people driving downtown. Then, okay, but when they talked about the finding part, that's when it got bad. So you find out the information. Stop relying on other people. Now, to give you ideas, to spark ideas, or to get you to be concerned, initially, should I be concerned with that? That's not a problem. You with me? That's hopefully what I do here, is get people to think. Then you go find the information. Yes? Yes. Okay, let's end on a positive note. We're not at war as of me making this video. That could change in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 3 days or whatever the hell. Please remember, and I mentioned this before, guys, what is coming is inevitable. You are not going to stop it. So just kind of smile, work on your preparedness, get up, try to be less dependent on other people, enjoy your life, laugh, smile, play games, go in the kitchen. Oh man, I made peanut butter muffins. Yeah, I got a book that's got like old recipes in it. And I'm looking through it, I'm like, peanut butter muffins, those sound good. Next time I'm putting in more peanut butter and sugar, because they were good, but they weren't sweet. You know what I mean? They had a good flavor to them. They were nice. But yeah, peanut butter muffins. I did that from scratch. You should try doing something like that. Throwing it out there. Anyways, all right, let's finish this up. I hope this finds you well. I hope all of you are happy. I hope you're trying to be positive. And I hope for whatever it is that you believe you need to be prepared for, you are being prepared.